So as you all know, Rogue One is the first Star Wars spin-off, Star Wars story, anthology, or whatever they want to call it, about how the plans for the original Death Star were stolen by the Rebel Alliance just before the events of Episode 4 A New Hope. Now of course, this being a Star Wars film, it has instant expectations and instant hype from pretty much everyone on planet Earth, and does Rogue One meet those expectations? Absolutely. I really enjoyed Rogue One. I had a really great time watching this film despite the people behind me who would not shut up talking. That really annoyed me, but that's a story for another time. Rogue One is exactly what Lucasfilm promises from the start. This is a war film. It's boots on the ground, soldiers fighting the Empire. It is a straight up war movie. It's exactly what I wanted from the trailers, and it's pretty much the big screen version of Star Wars Battlefront, except you get to see the whole thing and you don't have to pay for the rest of it later on. So it's a really great war film, but with every great war film you need good action, and not only does Rogue One have good action, it has incredible action. Just like The Force Awakens, the action in this film is all practical. Yes, there's CGI action battle sequences later on in the film, but when they're on the ground and guns are being shot at people and explosions are happening, bodies are flying all over the place, it is real, it is authentic, and it is amazing. The CGI in this film is also really, really great. I mean, there's parts in space where things are happening. There's no spoilers in this video, by the way, and it's gonna be very hard to talk about certain things without spoiling them, but I'm gonna do the best I can. There are certain shots in space where things are coming towards other things, and my jaw was just on the floor like, oh my god, that's incredible. But speaking of the CGI, there is one character whose CGI is a CGI character, and it looks very CGI. It stood out instantly, and that was quite bothersome. But apart from that, the rest of the CGI, incredible. And the cinematography in this film was also incredible. I mean, the way the camera goes through the action sequences and the battle sequences in space, and also the colours of the movie, the look of it, it just looks very, very great. One thing Rogue One did very well for me was put the original film Episode 4 A New Hope into context, because now when I watch Episode 4 A New Hope and I see those opening two paragraphs and it says the Rebel Alliance defeated the Empire in their first battle and the Death Star plans were stolen in that battle, it puts the whole film into context for me, and every time I see that now, I'm going to think of Rogue One and think of all the events that went down in this film, and I feel like I'm going to appreciate A New Hope even more because of what happened in Rogue One. That is how a spin-off should work, and this film is just so successful at bridging the gap between Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith and Episode 4 A New Hope. It's a perfect companion piece to Episode 4, it's a perfect prequel, it leads right into it perfectly. There's also a few references to certain things and maybe some certain characters here and there that will become important later on down the line, and I also like how the film did not rely on nostalgia to get the feels and to get the Star Wars fans going, yeah, Star Wars! There's one thing I haven't talked about in this video yet, and that's the characters, and that is unfortunately where my one flaw of this film does come in. I didn't really feel like there was that much to the characters in this film. Jyn Erso, played by Felicity Jones, is by far the one you know the most about and by far the one you care the most about. She has the checkered past, she has the whole relationship with her dad, Mads Mikkelsen, who is tied up with the Empire and has something to do with the Death Star. She gets the most depth and backstory, and you care about her the most. But the rest of her crew, there's not really much going on there character depth-wise. You have Cassian Andor, who's like the main rebel person with them, and he says a couple things, yes, I felt pain and before, but you don't really feel it, and he never really elaborates upon that stuff. These two guys, I'm going to call them these two guys because I can't really remember their character names, but they meet these two guys on Jedha, and something happens which I won't spoil, and then they're just suddenly along for the ride. Not to say they weren't likeable, I mean, this guy was a badass. He's the blind ninja, warriors, Jedi worshipper. He has the staff, and he just beating the hell out of stormtroopers. The staff also turns into a gun. He was awesome. Like I said, you just meet them on Jedha, and then suddenly they're along for the ride, and there's not really a lot of backstory with them at all, really. Riz Ahmed's character, the Imperial pilot who's defected to the Rebel Alliance, he has a little bit of backstory. You like him because he's rebelling against the Empire, but again, not a lot going on depth-wise. K2SO, the android C-3PO type for this film, he was awesome. Some of the moments he has in this film, some of the lines of dialogue, hilarious. By far the funniest aspect of Rogue One. So the characters didn't really have much depth. You don't get to know too much about most of them, but they were all likeable though. I still liked the characters. I liked Cassian Andor. I liked the blind warrior who was awesome, knocking people out of the stormtroopers, and his best mate who had that enormous blaster cannon. That thing shredded stormtroopers. I'm just saying, I want that gun in Battlefront. Krennic is the main villain in this film, played by Ben Mendelsohn, and I thought he was great in the movie, and I like his character as a villain because he's trying to prove himself to the Empire, because he feels like he's not getting all the glory. He feels like he's not getting the rightful amount of respect he deserves from the higher up. So he's constantly trying to prove himself to the Empire. So I liked his character arc there. And as I'm sure you all know by now, Darth Vader is in this film. And do not go into this film expecting a lot of Darth Vader, because you're going to be very, very disappointed. He's not in the film a lot. He's in it quite a little, actually. But the parts that he has, yeah. That's all I'm going to say. Just, yeah. I was going to say this. The last third of this movie, the last 25 to 30 minutes of this film, oh my God, that is incredible. It is constant, on the edge of your seat excitement. The action's going down. It's incredible. The cinematography blended with the action and the CGI in space. Oh my God, there is so much incredible awesomeness in the last third of this movie. There are some moments where you're just going to be like, oh my God, did that really just happen? Overall, guys, I really enjoyed Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. I liked the characters in the film, even though they didn't have too much depth and there wasn't really that much to them. But the film has amazing action sequences accompanied with terrific CGI, as well as incredible cinematography and direction, as well as a simple yet effective story that acts as a perfect companion piece and a perfect prequel to Episode 4: A New Hope. It ties into that film so seamlessly. I can't quite get it to a 5 out of 5 because of those characters not being as good as I wanted them to be, but I'm still going to give this film a strong 4 out of 5. So guys, let me know in the comments below, what did you think of Rogue One: A Star Wars Story? And if you want to see more of my stuff, click on one of these links and I'll see you all in the next video.